Today we're going to be recreating Xavi's 4-3-3 on the latest match engine, and let's just say this right now, this tactic went invincible and picked up 65% possession, so hopefully you guys like the new look. By the way, it looks a lot more professional. Hopefully you do enjoy that. Today we're going to be testing with three very different teams. One sort of powerhouse team being Barcelona, Besiktas obviously over in the Turkish division in that fight for obviously the win, and obviously West Ham, a team not as good in the Premier League but still a decent team. So three very different teams, three very different backgrounds. If you do enjoy the tactics, be sure to leave a like. Let's get into the video. So first up is going to be Barcelona. We had a very good season, obviously in the Spanish First Division. You can see here right now winning 34 games, drawing 4 and losing 0 games, meaning it is going to be a perfect season. Obviously not 38 wins, but still very good, failing to lose 1 game, which is very good right there. Going over to the player stats, it is going to be Lewandowski picking up 42 goals and also finishing first place in the average rating. Rafinha and Pedri finished second and third in that category as well. Assist-wise, Rafinha picks up 25 and Fernand Torres picks up 17. Ter Stegen picks up the second most clean sheets in the league as well, so nothing too much to complain about right there. Team stat-wise, it is going to be very dominant for us right now. Most points per game at 2.79, most goals over 120, most shots at 669, the fewest shots against at 183. Possession-wise, we're not going to be the best, we are going to be very close to the best in this league with 61% of the ball. Fewest conceded at 24, and obviously the most clean sheets, we love to see that coming in at 20, so very good stuff. Going over to the data hub, it is going to be 3.32 goals every single game, only 0.63 conceded, over 17.5 shots a game, very good to see that as well, an 88% pass completion, and attack win ratio coming in of 78.07. We're doing everything really well. In terms of the other competitions though, we are going to obviously go over them. The Spanish Cup, we are going to win in 5-0 fashion against Alaves, which we're going to take. We also are going to win that Spanish Super Cup against Real Madrid in 3-0 fashion, so two very convincing Spanish Cups there. Unfortunately, the Champions League, it's going to be PSG knocking us out in the round of 16. Unfortunately, you can see there, it wasn't a real demolition, it was a close game, but we're going to take it, and as you can see right now from the homepage, it is going to be a treble winning season. And let's watch a highlight from this 5-0 final. Obviously, quite a convincing final, there's no doubt about that. Frankie de Jong picks it up into Lewandowski, who in that position is never going to miss that opportunity. We all know that. Such a good player, not only on the ball, but of course, when it comes to finishing. Frankie de Jong again wins it back into Lewandowski. These two had a really good partnership throughout the entire season, who makes it 2-0 very early on, still only 25 minutes played. Balde back into Pedri, into Fernand Torres, into Gundogan, who again enjoyed a very good season back with this Barcelona team. Frankie de Jong again involved in the 4th goal. This de Jong Lewandowski partnership never did fail to please me. 4 goals up now. This actually was wrapped up before 37 minutes. 5 goals in 37 minutes. It's a dominant final. Of course, up next is going to be Besiktas, obviously over in the Turkish league. Predicted, I think, 4th place or 3rd. Very close to obviously win the league, but there's a lot of teams who can compete in this league. Galatasaray and Fenerbahce. Also sometimes do see Trabzonspor up there as well. So to be fair, still a very good season. Only losing 3 games as well. So not as good as Barcelona. We are going to pick up some losses, but very few at that. When it comes to the player stats, we're not going to be in the top goal scoring category on this occasion. We are, however, going to be in the average rating. 1st and 2nd place, and picking up the most assists, and on this occasion actually picking up the most clean sheets in the league as well, which is really impressive. Team stat wise, it is going to be very convincing. Most clean sheets, fewest conceded. Possession wise, 65% of the ball, so very good there. Fewer shots against at 171, the most shots at 675, the most points and the most goals. We're literally covering every single aspect of the game. Now, of course, other competitions, the Europa Conference League, unfortunately, Aston Villa are a little bit too much for us. They are a very good team, very good players, and a very good manager. The Turkish Cup, however, we are going to win in 4-0 fashion, so we do the Turkish double, we're going to take it. Not a bad first season, considering on these tactic videos, as you know, 0 signings are made. Data hub-wise, we are going to go and have a little look. It's going to be 2.92 goals every single game, 0.58 conceded, over 17.7 shots every single game, and an 88% pass completion. It's quite consistent. And this cup final was an absolute breeze. It was a 4-0 win against not the best team, to be honest with you, at all. But we've got to take it. It's a cup final. It's another trophy for Besiktas. You can't complain there. A very good start inside of 27 minutes. And as you can see from the timer, the game goes on quite a bit now. Into the 68th minute, a great ball over the top, quite direct, considering this is very much tiki-taka based, short passing. But as you can see from the highlights now, a lot of the goals are going to be very different, which is quite good for a tactic. You're not always relying on one sort of method of scoring your goals. You can see there a direct ball down the line, plays it into the box, and it's quite simple. And to finish it off, a a good penalty. And lastly, I know it is going to be 10th place predicted West Ham. We come in and somehow scrape the Premier League. Now, I will say there's been some teams in here who have had an absolute nightmare because Man City failed to actually win the league, considering we lost 7 games, which is something I've never seen before. They lost 8, Arsenal lost 6, Chelsea lost 7. Some teams having a real off performance there. Manchester United down in 8th place, but we somehow get it done. It was very, very close, and it was definitely not as pretty as the Barcelona season. But considering it's West Ham, a 10th place predicted side, I'm going to take it. We are not going to be featuring in the top goal scorers. Solanke is, though, in 2nd place. Any Bournemouth fans, be sure to leave a like on the video. Thomas Souček outperforms everybody in the league with a 7.54. We're not going to be in the assist category. We are, however, going to put an absolute defensive masterclass on, as we are going to have the most clean sheets in the league. Now, overview-wise, we're not going to feature in too much, to be honest. I don't know, though. Most points per game at 2.29. Most goals at 80. Quite low compared to the other teams, but again, we are a very, very sort of mid-table to, I won't say relegation, but lower down on the table team. Possession-wise, we're going to be in the mix in the top 4. Very impressive considering the teams are Arsenal, City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester United, Tottenham and Villa. We're going to merge right in there with 58% of the ball, which we can't really complain about at all. The fewest conceded at 27, and of course the most clean sheets. Now, data hub-wise, it is going to be 2.11 goals per game, 0.71 conceded, 14 shots a game and an 88% pass completion. We can't really be too annoyed at those either, can we, if we're being honest. Competition-wise, it is going to be not the best apart from the Premier League, but considering we've won the Premier League, I'm really not fussed. All of this means nothing. We're Premier League champions. We also had a very good season over on the console. Of course, if you are interested in the console and the mobile tactics, you can get those from the Patreon in the description below. They have to be a Patreon perk because it's good to give back to those who do support the channel and myself as a creator. So hopefully you don't mind, but I'm going to show you the results very quickly. As you can see, it's going to be a Champions League winning tactic against Manchester City. We also win the Spanish Cup in 5-2 fashion over Real Madrid. This absolutely cooked on console. And unfortunately, we're literally 1 point off completing the treble. Real Madrid just edged it in that regard, but nearly the perfect season. And to win the Champions League against City is a really good sign of any tactic. Data hub-wise, it is going to be very appealing at 2.16 goal a game, only 0.39 conceded, a very good pass completion at 89.42, and a shots per game at 12.11. And after looking over a few of the games, it averaged around about 62% possession over on console. Now to mobile. And on mobile, it was sort of the other way around. We actually really dominated the Spanish First Division, come out and made Real Madrid look absolutely stupid. We were runners-up in the Spanish Super Cup. Unfortunately, couldn't get really anything going in the Champions League. The tactic is very good on mobile. Just need to make a few more signings, I think, to really get the tactic cooking. But we still take a Spanish First Division in the first season. I'm not going to complain about it. You can see down here, although my webcam might be blocking it, Fernand Torres with 25 goals, Xavi with 14 assists, and it is going to be Victor coming in with 7.44 as the highest average rating. Let's now break down the tactics. So now, of course, over to your favourite part of the video. That is going to be the tactic breakdown. If you are enjoying so far, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And again, if you want to join over the 3,500 people, you can come over and check out the Patreon, where we've got over 13 perks. You can see them on the screen right now. You get your console, you get your mobile tactics, you get access to all 3 of these. You get them early, you get priority in the tactic and the rebuild requests. You get the rebuild save files. We've got everything going on, guys, covering everything in FM, all exclusive to you boys over on there. But let's go over and talk about the Xavi Barca updated tactics. So it is going to be a super keeper coming in simply on support, on take more risks. A wing back on the right is going to be set to support on cross less often, shoot less often, sit narrower and tackle harder. These wing backs aren't going to be the most progressive wing backs because, as you can see going up the field, we've got very attacking inside forward options. That means the left back is going to be identical to the right back, so I'm not going to waste your time there. We then go with a ball playing defender on the left, on defend, on tackle harder and mark tighter, and that's going to be exactly the same for the right hand side option as well. So not the most progressive back four. The wing backs are going to get involved naturally, but they're not going to be having shots from the halfway line or anything ridiculous. They're going to be quite composed and let the front three really do what they have to do, and that is provide goals and assists for each other. The anchor comes in. This is probably the best option in my opinion, suits De Jong down to a T, on tackle harder and mark tighter. A central midfield player on the right on support, on pass it shorter, get further forward, so move into the channels and tackle harder. Very important you have these instructions on, because if you don't, you're going to have quite a very negative midfield that aren't really going to provide anything for the front three. So if you are going to use this, hopefully you are, then definitely have these instructions on. Next one is going to be a central midfield player on attack on this occasion. I prefer it to a Mazzala in my opinion. Obviously, I will say this for anyone that is on the Patreon, the console version is a little bit different in this area because it simply didn't work. But on PC, this works really, really well. On attack, on pass it shorter, move into the channels and tackle harder. The inside forward on the left is going to be set to attack, on pass it shorter, run from position, sit narrower, and tackle harder. And that's going to be exactly the same for the right-hand side. And to finish it off, the goal scorer, you could use a deep line forward to link up the play more, maybe get a little bit more possession, but I went with an advanced forward on attack, simply on tackle harder. So, team instructions, and it is going to be based off a custom tiki-taka on the attacking mentality. We're going to set this to fairly wide. It also stands on my screen because I am on a clean slate, but for you it should say fairly wide. We're going to hit pass into space. We're going to focus down the left and the right-hand side. I'll say this right away, if you want to have more possession, you can untick this, but I'm a man where I want to get goals as well. I don't just want to have lots of possession and do nothing with it. So pass into space sometimes really, you saw it in the highlights. You see balls in behind and they get played. So in my opinion, do keep it on. But if you are possession crazy, you can turn it off. Much shorter is going to be applied, match with a higher tempo. We're going to dribble less and we're going to have this on low crosses, something which I really like to keep on throughout any tactic if I can, because it works so well. In transition, it's going to be very simple. It's going to be counter press, counter, play to the centre backs while rolling the ball out. Now this really isn't a Xavi preference. It's just something which I really liked in this tactic. If you want to change it up, you can go to take short goal kicks, but definitely do not go long with it because that is not how we play. Lastly, out of possession, we are going to instantly go with the high pressure line of engagement. We're going to roll with the high defensive line. We're going to prevent short goal distribution because we've got two inside forwards. We've got a central midfield player going up to press and the advanced forward, of course. And we're going to finish it off with the much more often. But now let's go over the much needed attacking variant. The attacking variant obviously is going to look very similar, but we just made it a lot more attacking for if you were trying to chase a game, you're a goal down, or if you're drawing 0-0, you're trying to get a desperate goal. So it is going to be a sweeper keeper, simply on the default, he remains the same. The wing-backs do change both to attack on cross less often, shoot less often, sit narrower, and tackle harder. That's going to be exactly the same as the left-back as well, just making them a lot more attacking-minded and getting really progressive up the field because we are trying to get bodies up there, and hopefully, especially in this Barcelona team, you've got quite good attack and fullbacks, so you may as well use them. Ball-playing defenders remain simply untouched. The deep line playmaker comes in instead of the yanker. A bit more progressive play to obviously get the ball moving forward. On tackle harder and mark tighter, of course, on the support role. The central midfield player on the right is going to be set to attack and also on the left-hand side. On the left, we're going to have pass at shorter, move into the channels and tackle harder. And on the right, we're going to have pass at shorter, dribble more, move into the channels and, of course, tackle harder. Both of the inside forwards remain unchanged because they're already very, very attacking-minded players. And lastly, the advanced forward, who simply does not need to change. But if you are desperate and you've got a player who has got really, really good finishing, don't hesitate to add this instruction on because although it's going to, you're not going to have as much possession because he's going to be taking shots at goal, if you've got a very good finisher, it's worth it. Again, custom tiki-taka on the attacking mentality, but it is going to be a little bit different. So we are going to have this set to standard. It will say fairly wide for you. We're going to pass into space. We're going to focus down the left and the right-hand side. We're not going to go with much shorter. We're going to go with shorter now because obviously we're trying to be a little bit more goal scoring. We're not trying to be as sort of possession based. We want to have a little bit more of an outlet. So the tempo is always going to be matched to higher, of course. Dribble less is still going to be on, but we're going to add be more expressive and we're going to keep on the low crosses. This simply takes us from a much more possession-based tactic to still a possession-based tactic, but a little bit more attacking, a little bit more free-flowing. In transition, it's going to be counter press. Oh, there we go. Counter press, counter, distribute quickly, play to the centre backs while rolling the ball out. Again, if you want to go slightly away from the realism side, if you want to do that, I know people hate it when I do that, you can untick this and you can obviously just take short goal kicks, get the ball moving really, really quick. But for realistic purposes, we're going to roll it out and keep it to the centre backs. Lastly, out of possession, of course, it is going to be the high pressure line of engagement. We are going to go with the much higher defensive line, much more often when it comes to the trigger press and prevent short goalkeeper distribution. Now to the much needed defensive tactic to defend your games out. And that is what this masterpiece looks like. Of course, it is going to be Xavi Barca defense. There we go. So it is going to be the sweeper keeper simply on support. The wing back on the right is going to be on defend now on those same four instructions. That's also going to be identical for the left hand side. Very important you have this variant as well because it makes it so much easier than obviously changing it mid-game. You can simply download all three, have them in 3 file slots, and you're away. A ball-playing defender in the middle and on the right-hand side is both going to be on tackle harder and mark tighter. The anchor is going to come back into the team on this occasion with one more instruction on pass it shorter and tackle harder alongside of mark tighter. A central midfield player comes in on defend, on pass it shorter, and also tackle harder. And next to him is going to be a central midfield player on support, so the default on pass it shorter, get further forwards, move into the channels, and also tackle harder. The inside forward on the right is going to be on support now, match with the left-hand side, both on the same set of instructions. That is going to be pass it shorter, run from position, sit narrower, and obviously tackle harder. And the advanced sword does remain unchanged, but I'll quickly explain how this tactic actually works. So basically, a lot of these players are going to be on pass at shorter. You'll see by the team instructions, they're also going to be sitting a little bit narrower as well. And you're just going to have really good levels of possession. You're not going to score as many goals, but you're going to dominate the ball, make it very hard for the other team to even touch the ball. And it's going to be very frustrating for the opposition. Trust me on that one. But let's get into the team instructions. Again, custom tiki-taka, but this time it is going to be on the balanced mentality. We are going to do what I said briefly. That is going to be set to fairly narrow. We're still going to pass into space because if there is a good long ball option on, or not long ball as in negative, but you know, an in behind run, you may as well use it. We're still going to focus down the left and the right hand side. The tempo is going to be set to standard in the middle. We're going to have this all the way down to much shorter. We're going to dribble less. We're going to work the ball into the box, and we're going to have low crosses on. Now this here screams out high possession, you know, fairly narrow, keeping the players close together, much shorter, dribble less, you know, being really sensible on the ball, completing the passes. You're going to have very, very high levels of possession. And a little heads up, you can go into games like this if you want to take a more cautious approach. In transition, we're going to slow the pace down. We are going to counter press. We are not going to counter, however, because we're trying to keep hold of the ball. We're going to roll the ball out, and of course, we're going to go to them centre backs. Last is going to be very basic, but out of possession, we are going to go with the standard defensive line, the high pressing line of engagement, much more often, and prevent short goal distribution. And that's going to complete for you boys 3 variants of the Xavi Barca: attacking variant, defensive variant, and of course, the normal variant you should go into your games with a sort of top 4 team. If you're going in with a real underdog, you can go in with a defensive variant, but that's completely up to you guys how you want to judge it. If you have enjoyed, be sure to leave a like. Hopefully you enjoyed the new setup. You can see here, that's actually my recording screen now. Hopefully you are enjoying it. If you have, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, keep the comments coming on any future tactics you want to see, and I'll see you in the next one.